Hi, this is John Rowell for the Rowell Report. Unfortunately, President Trump is not fulfilling his campaign promises in many areas, and I really wanted his presidency to be a success, of course, because this would mean good things for the United States, and it would get us out of foreign wars and foreign entanglements, get us more focused towards improving the lives of ordinary Americans, and would build up better infrastructure, whether it's highways, bridges, roads, airports, uh, high-speed rail, etc. But we're not really getting any of that. It seems like we're just getting more of the same, just in a different proportion to President Biden. So, with the promise to not carry out any new wars, I don't know what the count is now, how many countries we've bombed. We bombed Nigeria, we've bombed Iran, we've bombed Venezuela. We've bombed in many areas. And it looks like we're heading now into a more long-term conflict with Iran. We have basically U.S. forces assembling near Iran within striking distance. And so, in order to really carry out the regime change operation they want to do in Iran, they would need 100,000 or 200,000 soldiers on the ground, and that may not even carry out that task. So, we're going to be bombing Iran and then thinking that the Iranians won't reply. We could get a nuclear exchange at some point, attacking Iran to try to take out their leadership. So this would be a major escalation. And so all these foreign entanglements, all these regime change operations, trying to bring in the crown prince into Iran. And this crown prince isn't even a member of a royal family. He's just a guy who, whose family hit the jackpot with the CIA, and they said, now you're going to be king. So, how did they pick this family? I guess they were just the most loyal individuals. But anyway, so we're going to go out of our way to try to bring in a very unpopular and probably incompetent leader into Iran. So even if we were successful bringing him into power, he wouldn't last. He would definitely get the boot within a short period of time because of his incompetence and his heavy-handed ways, which he would have inherited from basically his father and from those three-letter agencies that surround him and would try to keep him in power. So anyway, this first campaign promise, no new wars, definitely, as President Trump is not keeping. The second promise, stronger dollar, well, you can just go to any news source and find that the dollar has lost, I think, about 10% of its value since President Trump entered office. So that by itself means that prices will be higher of any imported goods. It will mean an increase in price. And of course, price increases is inflation. So that's inflationary. And also, President Trump promised in 2017 we would have a strong dollar, and again in 2024. So this has been a common theme of, that he's promised several times in several campaigns. And so, this isn't my opinion. This is just fact. The dollar has lost value. So number one, no new wars. That definitely has been broken. The second promise of a stronger dollar, definitely broken. Of course, he has 3 years to work on that and bring that back. But for the moment, the trend is lower. Also, 3, regarding mass deportations. So, uh, President Trump promised to find all those who entered the country, undocumented migrants who entered during the years of President Biden, and to get them out of the country. But he's not at the pace that he needs to be in order to do that. And right now, the ICE and the federal government, who's involved in any migratory matters, is more involved in building conflict zones where they're not dealing so much with those who are undocumented, but they are dealing with protesters. So we have ICE doing face scanning of protesters, and also carrying out very strong action against lawful freedom of speech. So, and President Trump promised in 2016 about the largest deportation operation in American history. He's barely above President Obama's deportation rate per day, and so in mass deportations, President Trump is not on track to reach his goal that he promised. So he's allowing ICE to get bogged down into this conflicts with sanctuary cities and Democrat run cities and towns. We have conflicts in Chicago, conflicts in many different cities and in states where the Democrats are running the show. So this is more about the political campaigns rather than substance. So if President Trump wants to carry out this goal, he needs to work very quickly and get out of these conflictual situations and just get ICE focusing on what they're supposed to do and what their primary job is. So in mass deportations, ICE is getting bogged down, and I don't see President Trump reaching his goal. So this looks like another miss. Now in the area of free speech, President Trump said in 2022, "I will sign an executive order to restore free speech in America." However, there are many movements to shut down free speech in this country. The very obvious sign is TikTok, which is a platform run out of China. So they use this as some kind of national security issue to dislodge TikTok from China and take it over. But now there are filters on free speech in TikTok which prevent Americans from expressing themselves freely in speech which should be protected, but unfortunately it was not protected on these platforms. So it appears that the dislodging of TikTok from TikTok in China was the free speech that was going on that platform and how it was not being regulated. So we see that free speech now is being limited, and that's just one example. In 2024, President Trump said, "I will ban government censorship and restore free speech." Well, TikTok is one good example that the Trump administration has done the opposite. Now, regarding the promises for lower prices and inflation, this is promise number 5. We will defeat inflation and bring prices down. That was in 2020. And in 2024, we will crush inflation and bring prices down fast. So, have you seen any reduction in prices anywhere? Whether it is in the, I do see some price reductions in the housing market, but I think that's more related to demand. In the supermarket, I think everything just continues to go up. And if you see all the tariffs that are being applied to different countries, if you just take something like chocolates from, I believe they come from Switzerland, the Ferrero Rocher chocolates. So a large box of those chocolates used to be under $10. Now in the supermarket, you can see it for $25. And in these purchase clubs, it is cheaper, but it's still gone up substantially. And that is just one example. Meat prices continue to rise with no sign of stabilizing. And some areas have stabilized, like milk, but overall, prices continue to go up and up and up. And so finally, the promise of no regime changes. President Trump said in 2018, we will stop trying to overthrow foreign regimes. That was in 2016. And in 2024, he said, we will stop regime change wars and put America first. Well, unfortunately, we had the regime change or attempt in Venezuela. We've had the USAID, NED regime change operations in Nepal, in several countries. So anyway, those operations are ongoing. So even if the United States isn't openly trying to regime change with some, sending in the military, they're still using the back door, so to speak. The CIA run foundations, and we got the Soros Foundation. All these are working hand in hand, side by side, to regime change countries where we have interests and want to make sure that there is a puppet government in charge. So this continues to go on. And regarding this idea of warfare and spending our resources supporting wars instead of putting that money into our infrastructure, we have the U.S. government continuing to provide through the Pentagon and through other means, getting warfare assistance to Ukraine. And so President Trump said that we would not, we would get ourselves out of that conflict, but we're still there, just behind the scenes, and the money continues to flow and the weapons continue to flow. So on these 6 points, no new wars, a stronger dollar, mass deportations, free speech, lower prices and inflation, and no regime change, President Trump is coming up 0 for 6. Now he has 3 more years in his presidency to try to rectify this. Will we see any change in his government? We will see. But in some of these areas, he's already committed to going against those campaign promises. So I can't see in some of these areas no new wars, no regime change. Of course, the attempt to bully Iran is just another, it's like the third regime change attempt of the Trump administration. So we have 3 attempts there. We have the one in Venezuela, that's 4. So it's just not looking good right now for the Trump administration. And so the America First agenda should be a strong economy, strong dollar, uh, investing in infrastructure, investing in Americans, in training, in competitiveness, also to stop the inflation. So to do that, President Trump will have to get rid of many of the tariffs and strengthen the dollar. So we're going in the totally opposite direction. And so anyway, that is my view of President Trump and these 6 points. There are other points that can be covered. I will cover in a future video. But anyway, right now he's sitting 0 for 6. And we will see how this goes on these 6 points for the remainder of the year. So anyway, that concludes my video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you back in future videos. Take care. Bye-bye.